Part 56. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 551. Are you sure? Sure. Ahashi Reiko nodded and stroked his long white legs. Come on, I've been waiting for a long time. Then I'm not welcome. See if I don't kill you today. Lu Yu jumped forward like a tiger. The battle was about to break out, and the foot of the bed groaned under the pressure. While Lu Yu was busy fighting for 300 rounds with Ahashi Leiju, Yu Yu's figure appeared in a corner of the inner city. It was already late at night and everything was quiet. Yu Yu walked expressionlessly, as if melting into the darkness, dodged the night patrol guards many times, and came to the inner city wall. I don't know what method was used, but Yu Yu's figure appeared on the other side of the city wall in an instant. Avoiding the guard's gaze, he turned into a black shadow and headed towards a certain place in the outer city. Outer city. Compared to the inner city, the nights here are disorderly, and lives are lost all the time. Yu Yu's figure appeared in front of a statue. Another dark shadow has been waiting for a long time. You're late. The guards in the inner city are a bit tight. Yu Yu replied, his face expressionless and his voice equally calm. Did he doubt you? Probably not yet. Well, he is the top priority of the Zero Plan. There must be no mistakes. I know this. Yu Yu nodded, but the question is, what should we do if he doesn't want to join us? Don't worry, after he knows the truth and feels the coldness coming from the bone marrow, he will naturally know how to choose. After saying this, the black shadow disappeared. Yu Yu stood there for a long time, his expression changing, and finally went back. Returning to the hotel quietly, Yu Yu looked at the quiet room and hesitated for a moment. Why is there no movement? At this moment, the door suddenly opened. Multiplayer Sport. Chapter 0417. Let's talk straight to the point, the mysterious 00 Association. Multiplayer Sports. Yu Yu glanced at Reiko Ahashi, who was wearing sexy clothes on the bed, and was stunned for 2 seconds. No. No need. With that said, he headed towards his room. Lu Yu watched Yu Yu enter the room and then closed the door again. Lu Yu, come on. Ahashi Reiko stretched out his other leg. The two played backgammon again. However, Lu Yu's thoughts were not on Ahashi Reiko's beautiful legs at all. Yu Yu, what are you doing out at such a late hour? Lu Yu frowned slightly as he recalled Yu Yu's muddy shoes. He went to the outer city. It rained this afternoon. There are no dirt roads in the inner city. Only, the outer city has it. Lu Yu frowned even more when he thought of this. Ah, you hurt me. Ahashi Reiko touched his leg, looking unhappy. Seeing this, Lu Yu said oh and started again. She played chess with Ahashi Reiju for a long time, and didn't stop until she offered to sleep. Lu Yu found an excuse and slipped out of the room, looking at Yu Yu's room with flickering eyes. Very strange. Yu Yu is a very strange guy. In fact, Lu Yu began to doubt Yu Yu very early on. The reason is simple. This guy keeps approaching me for no reason. He also proposed many times that he wanted to join the Universe Zero Association. Furthermore, it's the token. Lu Yu rubbed a black token in his hand and looked at it thoughtfully. I had doubts about Yu Yu at first, but after thinking about it carefully, I didn't think too much about it. After all, Yu Yu has never shown any hostility towards him until now. But tonight, his performance left Lu Yu puzzled. Why is this guy sneaking out in the middle of the night without sleeping or practicing? He even went to the outer city specially. Lu Yu didn't believe it when he said there was no problem. Lu Yu put his hand on the door. However, the finger did not fall, but hovered in mid-air. Question him face to face, or something else. Lu Yu hesitated. At this moment, the door suddenly opened from the inside. Lu Yu. Yu Yu looked a little surprised. Seeing this, Lu Yu narrowed his eyes and simply got straight to the point. What are you doing sneaking out at night today? Did you discover it? Yu looked shocked. Okay, let me show it off. I just went to the red light district, you know. Yu winked, but Lu Yu remained unmoved. It's already this time, there's no need to say this, right? Seeing Lu Yu's serious eyes, Yu was silent for a moment. Still doubtful. Always doubting it? Okay, come in. Yu got out of the way, and Lu Yu walked directly into it without hesitation. He knew that Yu's strength was not his opponent. And if he, or the forces behind him, really want to kill him, there's no point running away now, he's already been killed, so it's better to get straight to the point and talk. The door closed and Yu sat down opposite Lu Yu. As expected of Feng Chu, it turns out that he has seen through it a long time ago. Yu smiled and gave Lu Yu a thumbs up. However, Lu Yu had no interest in joking. Seeing this, Yu scratched his head and laughed. Actually, I will tell you about this later, but since you want to know now, it's not a problem to tell you in advance. But you have to agree to one request of mine. What request? Lu Yu looked at him. Keep it a secret, Yu said. Hearing this, Lu Yu pondered for 2 seconds and nodded quickly. Okay. That's no problem, Yu laughed and pointed at himself. Lu Yu, you must still remember which galaxy group I am a genius from, right? Lu Yu thought hard for a while, then said, Seafood Galaxy Group. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 552. Yu. It's the Tianyu Galaxy Group. Yes. It's the Tianyu Galaxy Group. Lu Yu nodded immediately. Yu was silent for 2 seconds before continuing. Your local galaxy group and the Tianyu Galaxy Group where I am, both belong to the local Super Galaxy Group. And this time we went to the Great Wall with a total of 20 Super Galaxy clusters. Do you know why? I don't know, Lu Yu said. Seeing this, Yu nodded, I don't know either. Are you kidding me? Lu Yu's fists clenched loudly. Seeing this, Yu waved his hands quickly, I didn't play tricks on you. I really don't know, but it is foreseeable that there must be a purpose. What do you mean? Lu Yu frowned. Well, most people, even Lord Kingxiu, may not know this news. Lu Yu, I said, you have to confirm that it is kept secret. Yu waved his hand and set up a barrier around him. Lu Yu narrowed his eyes when he heard this. Ken. Okay, let me tell you now. The purpose of sending so many geniuses to the Great Wall this time is actually to obtain inheritance. Inheritance? Lu Yu was stunned. What inheritance? The inheritance of the gods. Yu's words were so shocking that Lu Yu's eyes widened immediately. Seeing this, Yu became proud. I'm afraid you don't know what the Protoss means, do you? It is an extremely glorious race that has run through the entire history of the universe and has a past that is so brilliant that it cannot be erased. Right here, under your feet and mine, this great wall is the handiwork of the gods. Yu made a shocking revelation. Seeing Lu Yu's shocked expression, he smiled. Shocked, right? When I first found out, I was also shocked. It was really. Before Yu could finish speaking, he was instantly suppressed by Lu Yu. Where did you know these things? Lu Yu said coldly. This news is amazing. How could you know these inside stories? What shocked Lu Yu even more was, how did he know that there was a legacy left by the gods on the Great Wall? Regarding the God clan, Lu Yu had to be vigilant. Yu looked at the dagger on his neck, with a slight cold sweat on his forehead. Lu Yu, let go first. That's it for now. I haven't harmed you either. Yu's words made Lu Yu silent for a moment. In the end, he stopped. Tell me about it. Lu Yu looked at Yu, but still did not relax his vigilance. Seeing this, Yu smiled bitterly. Lu Yu, you really don't need to be so wary of me. Believe me, we will be the same person in the future. Without saying anything, Lu Yu just looked at Yu. Seeing this, Yu spoke up. These information are all secrets of the association, it's that simple. Hearing this, Lu Yu once again thought of the Gui Ling association that Yu had mentioned many times. Now it seems that this association may be more powerful than I imagined. Otherwise, how could there be a chance to obtain such a thing? To know about the existence of the gods is already a matter of the last era. Lu Yu didn't know how long an era lasted. But a force that can pass down a certain part of information across eras is definitely not simple. Seeing Lu Yu's appearance, Yu spread his hands. How's it going? Are you interested in joining now? First tell me what kind of organization your association is. Okay, but you still have to keep it a secret, Yu said. Lu Yu nodded. Good. Well, this is an introduction to the Universe Zero Association. Read it for yourself. I think you will be interested. Yu smiled. Lu Yu took the big gold gilded book and slowly opened the cover page. Just the first line of words that came into view made Lu Yu's pupils shrink instantly. Chapter 0418 Our Purpose, Who is Throwing Objects at High Altitude? Just the first line of the gilded book made the pupils shrink instantly. Our purpose is to accelerate and promote the demise of this universe. Looking at this line of words, Lu Yu looked at Yu. Are all the people in your association crazy? Lu Yu's tone was unbelievable. This is not madness. What is madness? Accelerate and prompt the demise of the universe? Who dares to say that? Seeing this, Yu waved his hand. Don't be impatient, just keep reading. Good. Lu Yu narrowed his eyes. To be honest, just by reading this first line, he had no interest in the rest. It's completely psychotic behavior. Even so, Lu Yu continued to look down. Our universe is an extreme and irrational universe. No matter how it goes to perish, it will eventually perish. What we at the Zeroing Association have to do is to accelerate the process of destruction and disintegrate the universe from the inside. Only in this way can you obtain the qualifications to enter the new world. The entire gilded book seemed very thick, but when Lu Yu read the entire book, it was only a dozen pages long. The big book completely introduces the goals and introduction of the Zeroing Association, but there is nothing else. Are you fooled by this kind of thing? Lu Yu looked at Yu with a puzzled look. He had previously thought that the Zeroing Association might be the top force in the universe. Now it seems that I am a little disappointed. Seeing this, Yu laughed. Lu Yu, what you see is just the surface. How about our goal? Are you interested? No interest, I'm just curious. How did your association know those news? Lu Yu said. Seeing this, Yu spread his hands. Didn't I tell you clearly that it is the internal secret of the association? Lu Yu fell silent. It is an internal secret again. How did this association get these things? An unsolved mystery. Come on, Lu Yu, join us. Believe me, you will never be disappointed. We are working hard for the entire universe now. Yu looked at Lu Yu closely. Lu Yu looked at Yu as if he was looking at a lunatic. To be honest, I have heard of saving the world, but not destroying the world. It's almost the same. You can understand that we are saving the universe. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Shui. Chapter 553. Yu nodded seriously. Lu Yu was completely silent. To be honest, in his opinion, if you don't have 2 pounds of water in your head, You dare not join this association. Putting down the gold-plated book, Lu Yu said nothing and turned to walk out of the room. Lu Yu, remember to keep it a secret. Okay. Glancing at Yu Yu, Lu Yu closed the door. After the door was closed, Lu Yu's eyes changed. Zero association. He whispered, feeling puzzled. What exactly is this association? The purpose is too incredible, it is to destroy the universe? What a joke. How can the universe be destroyed so easily? But, why do they have information about the gods? Lu Yu has always been uneasy about this. Thinking about it, Lu Yu looked at the night sky outside again. Destroy the universe. This goal sounds like something he has heard of somewhere before. Lu Yu gradually became uneasy. Inexplicably, he thought of certain existences outside the Great Wall, those existences that once caused the Protoss to disappear. Could it be? Lu Yu's heart suddenly tightened, and he looked back at the room. The door of the room opened at some point, and Yu Yu looked at Lu Yu with a smile on his face. Lu Yu, haven't you left yet? No. As he said, Lu Yu opened his room and went in. As soon as he entered, Lu Yu realized that cold sweat had appeared on his back. Zero association. Destroy the universe. Protoss. All these connected together, Lu Yu suddenly realized that he seemed to realize something extraordinary. This is too amazing. Ahashi Leiju looked at Lu Yu, who was leaning against the door, and slightly lifted the quilt. Lu Yu, come and sleep together, the bed is warm. No, you sleep by yourself. Lu Yu walked to the balcony and thought about the problem. Ahashi Leiju saw this and snorted. Stinky man, you would rather blow the cold wind outside than sleep with me, go and have fun by yourself. As he said that, Dakiao Leiju fell asleep in the quilt. Half an hour later, Lu Yu saw that Dakiao Leiju's breathing had stabilized, and took out a bronze box from the system storage space. Under the moonlight, the bronze box seemed to be shining, and when it was turned over, the 8 character at the bottom was emitting a faint glow. The relic of the moon goddess heaven. Lu Yu frowned. This zero association, Lu Yu now seriously doubted that they might not be simple. Maybe they are connected with some existence outside the Great Wall. It might even be created by the existence outside the Great Wall. The purpose is to disintegrate everything through them. In this way, they can invade. Thinking of this, Lu Yu felt cold all over. This guess is too amazing. Imagine that the enemy has already penetrated deep into the interior, and everyone still doesn't know? If there is really any big move, I am afraid that the whole universe will be turned upside down. Of course, all this is still based on my own speculation. I'm afraid I'll have to ask Kinxu tomorrow to find out the truth. That woman is in the Taisha realm. If even she doesn't know the existence of the zero association, then this association is really hidden too deeply. Time passed, and soon a night passed. The next day, Ahashi Leiju looked at Lu Yu sitting alone on the balcony and was shocked. Lu Yu, you sat outside all night. Yeah. Lu Yu nodded. He thought about it for a long time last night, but in the end, he still couldn't figure out anything. Everything is shrouded in fog, and it is difficult to piece together a reasonable answer with limited clues. Ahashi Leiju has no idea about this. She hugged her shoulders in dissatisfaction. Am I so ugly? Yes. Lu Yu nodded. Ahashi Leiju. I'll fight you. Ahashi Leiju jumped off the bed in an instant, wearing pajamas, bouncing towards Lu Yu. The little white rabbit, so white, came bouncing over. At this moment, Lu Yu silently thought of this sentence. You see, I will beat you to death today. Dakiao Leiju stretched out his hand and punched, and Lu Yu took it casually. Her clothes were thin and big to begin with, and now the buttons were all on Lu Yu's face. Looking at the deep scar, Lu Yu fell into deep thought. Remember to wear it next time. You. Xiaoleiju's face turned red instantly. To be honest, when you don't speak, you are still quite pretty. Lu Yu commented seriously. Xiaoleiju's face, which had just turned red, quickly turned blue again. What if I'm about to speak? As he said that, Xiaoleiju picked up a vase and threw it at Lu Yu. Lu Yu blocked it casually, and downstairs, a scream broke out. Who the hell threw objects from high places? Lu Yu. Xiaoleiju. Chapter 0419 The mission is American Samoa follows, this is too difficult. In the end, neither of them said anything and just went downstairs. Downstairs, Yu Yu seemed to be waiting for the two of them. When he saw them coming down, he touched the blood on his head. I just came out and was hit by a bastard. This made Lu Yu and Xiaoleiju look at each other. In the end, no one said anything. Yu Yu cursed all the way, without stopping at all. Lu Yu ignored him. Before finding out who this guy Yu Yu is from, it's better to reduce contact with him. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mushui. Chapter 554. After leaving the inner city, the three entered the outer city again. The meeting place agreed by Qingxiu before was in the hall that appeared at the beginning. The location of the hall was very easy to find, just in the eastern area of the outer city, suspended in the air. After finding it, the three headed towards the hall. When they arrived, they found that there were already quite a few people in it. These geniuses basically had ugly expressions, and some were even injured. They were all talking about things in the outer city and the inner city. Obviously, their experiences in this day were similar to Lu Yu's. Almost all of them were rejected by the outer city and could not enter the inner city, and their lives were miserable. And here, Lu Yu heard something different. Let me tell you, the ancestors of these people who were exiled to the outer city were very powerful back then. They were the existence guarding the Great Wall, but later because of rebellion, all the tribesmen were exiled here. Is there such news? Of course. I asked an outer city person in the Star-Lord realm, and ordinary people don't know. Everyone was talking about it, almost all about the outer city and the inner city. After all, anyone with a discerning eye can see that the gap between the outer city and the inner city is too big, and they are completely two different worlds. Listening nearby, Lu Yu couldn't help but look at Yu Yu. Yu Yu looked indifferent, which made Lu Yu quite confused. Isn't this guy afraid that if he exposes his identity, he will be arrested as a traitor and released to the outer city? Lu Yu was suspicious, and Yu Yu also came over. How is it? How have you considered it? I haven't considered it. Okay. Yu Yu asked for trouble. I know you don't trust me now, but don't worry, you will understand after a while. After saying that, Yu Yu went aside. After a while, Qingxiu appeared. She stood at the front of the hall, and everyone quieted down instantly. After a glance, seeing that everyone was there, Qingxiu nodded. Everyone is here, so I will now explain your mission to the Great Wall. As Qingxiu's voice fell, a projection appeared in the hall. Your mission this time is to fight a life and death battle outside the Great Wall. There are enough monsters for you. The mission grouping is very simple. 500 people are divided into 50 groups, each with 10 people. You can now choose your group freely. It will end in half an hour. As soon as Qingxiu spoke, the whole audience was in an uproar. What? We are going outside the Great Wall. How is it possible? Isn't that a restricted area? There is no return. This is clearly a suicide mission. I don't know how many people were in an uproar. When everyone first came, they might not know what was outside the Great Wall. But after a day of understanding, everyone roughly understood it. The things outside the Great Wall are probably some extremely terrifying existences. Or in other words, the meaning of the Great Wall itself is to resist those existences. Now let yourself and others go out, isn't that courting death? Even Lu Yu frowned. He really didn't expect that the mission would be like this. Standing at the front, Qingxiu saw the scene below, and his expression did not change. Those who don't want to participate can withdraw. I withdraw. As soon as she finished speaking, a genius raised his hand. Everyone looked at the genius. Qingxiu also looked over and smiled. Very good, according to interstellar regulations, you are judged as a deserter and sent back. Wow! When this was said, the whole audience was shocked. According to the galaxy regulations, he was judged as a deserter. Instantly, everyone looked at the genius and sympathized with him. You know, if he is judged as a deserter according to the galaxy regulations, it is still a question whether this genius can survive after being sent back. Even if he can survive, he will probably be abolished as a warrior and become a useless person. No matter when, deserter, this is a taboo name. But what everyone didn't expect was, why is Lord Qingxiu so strict? This is obviously a way to die. The genius protested with some dissatisfaction. Master Qingxiu, we are obviously going to die, so why do we have to go? We have to go too, Qingxiu replied. Maybe you can choose to be a deserter now. But you have to think carefully. The supercluster has spent such a huge price to select you and send you here. If you are not confident, I am still very curious, how did you persevere? If you can come back alive, you will get rewards that you can't imagine. Or, quit now. As soon as these words came out, the whole audience was silent. No one spoke. At this time, Lu Yu stretched out his hand. Master Qingxiu, can we form a team in a separate galaxy group? Yes. Well, let's form a team in our own galaxy group, Lu Yu said. Beside him, Ahashi Leiju and others. Seeing this, Qingxiu nodded, very good. With Lu Yu leading the way, the others finally stopped hesitating. Going forward, surviving will definitely bring amazing rewards. After all, if you think about it carefully, it is indeed impossible for the supercluster to send himself and others to die. If we retreat and are treated as deserters, we will be completely doomed. Therefore, without hesitation, except for the genius who was treated as a deserter at the beginning, everyone else was divided into teams according to the galaxy clusters. A few minutes later, looking at the 50 teams formed in the hall, Qingxiu nodded with satisfaction. Very good, the team is enough. Now, I will tell you the specific details of this mission, Qingxiu said. Our super galaxy cluster is located in the Great Wall area where the 16th city is located. In addition to you, there will be warriors from the inner and outer cities to fight with you, but the main force is still you. In addition, this mission is a total of 20 galaxy clusters of geniuses participating at the same time. That is to say, there will be at least 10,000 geniuses fighting with you. 10,000 people, as long as they can come back alive, can get rewards. Of course, the higher the ranking, the richer the reward. In the area outside the Great Wall, those monsters have markers placed by us, a total of 10,000 markers. The one with the most markers is the first, and they are ranked in order, with different rewards. I hope you keep this in mind. Besides that, there is no need to say anything else. For life and death missions, each team is the same person, so do not attack from within. Okay, I'll stop here. The mission time is 2 o'clock this afternoon. You will gather in the hall at that time. Qingxiu said a lot, and the others took notes. Seeing this, she turned around and was about to leave. But Lu Yu suddenly stepped forward. Master Qingxiu, there is one thing I don't understand. Chapter 0420 The Cruel Truth, can only be obeyed. What is it? Qingxiu looked at Lu Yu. Seeing this, Lu Yu smiled. That's right, I want to ask Master Qingxiu where you live. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Shui. Chapter 555. Qingxiu. Everyone? I lost it? Does Lu Yu really want to date Master Qingxiu? Everyone was shocked, and Qingxiu's face suddenly turned red. Why do you ask? You won't die if you ask. I have something that I want to discuss with you, Qingxiu-sama, in depth. This. Upon hearing this, Qingxiu hesitated for a moment and then quickly reported Lu Yu's address. Then, she disappeared into the hall, and everyone looked at Lu Yu with envy. Lord Qingxiu actually gave it to me, can you believe it? I envy this person so much. Many male geniuses shook their heads and sighed. De Qiaolai looked at Lu Yu for a long time and frowned. Are you really interested in Master Qingxiu? Otherwise. Lu Yu spread his hands. After seeing this for a long time, De Qiao gritted his teeth with hatred. What the hell did I do wrong? The only difference is that he can talk. Ahashi Reiku. She said that she really didn't want to communicate with Lu Yu. So infuriating. Beside him, Yu sighed quietly. As expected, you still don't believe me. Just ask me whatever you want. As long as you don't reveal the secret, you won't be disappointed. With that said, Yu left with a sad look on his face. Seeing this, Lu Yu said nothing. He would never feel relieved until he understood the situation. After leaving here, Lu Yu and Ahashi Leiju separated and went directly to the place Qingxiu mentioned to find her. Qingxiu lives in the inner city. After quickly finding the place, Lu Yu knocked on the door. What's wrong with you, little devil? Qingxiu leaned against the door with a distrustful smile on her face. Seeing this, Lu Yu spread his hands. Lord Qingxiu, don't worry, I have absolutely nothing wrong with you. You can't beat me even if you think about it. Qingxiu said, then opened the door. Lu Yu walked into the courtyard. This yard is not big, but although the sparrow is small, it has all the internal organs and looks quite elegant. Master Qingxiu still has the heart of a girl. Lu Yu looked at a swing in the corner of the courtyard and smiled. Qingxiu's face turned slightly red immediately. Don't talk nonsense, just say what you have to say. Okay, then I'll get right to the point. Lu Yu slowly closed the courtyard door and locked it. Qingxiu snorted coldly when she saw this. What shady things are you planning to do, and why do you want to close the door? When I do shameful things, I do them with you, Qingxiu-sama. Qingxiu? Snap! Lu Yu flew away. After spitting out a mouthful of old blood, Lu Yu rubbed his chest. This punch really hurts. Huh, I'm giving you a little warning. Okay, let's get down to business. Lu Yu stood up again. Return to zero association, what exactly is it? As soon as these words came out, Qingxiu's eyes narrowed instantly. Why do you ask? It's nothing, I just accidentally found out about the existence of this organization and I was just curious, Lu Yu said casually. Qingxiu sneered when she heard this. You can't know this organization accidentally. Did someone from them send you an invitation? How do you know? Lu Yu was a little surprised. Qingxiu shook her head and looked at Lu Yu with envy. Unexpectedly, you are actually qualified to be invited by them. What do you mean? Lu Yu looked puzzled. Seeing this, Qingxiu explained. That organization has always been very mysterious and powerful. It has existed for a long time. Many big figures in history have been their members and have penetrated into many fields. To a certain extent, they can influence the course of civilization. Qingxiu looked serious. Lu Yu was shocked when he heard this. So powerful. Of course, to be able to enter that organization, basically everyone is at the top, which is quite not easy. Then do you know their purpose? Destroy the universe. Qingxiu's frank tone made Lu Yu's heart tremble. Since they know their goal is to destroy the universe, why do we still want to join in? Do those big shots think so too? Lu Yu was a little unbelievable. If the Guiling Association is a scammer or a pyramid scheme, Lu Yu thinks their gimmick is big enough. After all, the idea of destroying the universe is beyond the imagination of ordinary people. But what he never expected was, even with this purpose, it can actually attract a large number of big shots to join. Qingxiu said he was a big shot, so he must be a big shot. After all, her own strength is already extremely terrifying. The existence that she can call a big shot is definitely the one at the top of this universe. No need to question. After hearing Lu Yu's words, Qingxiu's expression was calm. That's what they should think. Lu Yu. Holy shit. Am I crazy, or is the world crazy? You act like a big shot and exploit the entire universe. Isn't that good? Destroy the universe? Crazy. Lu Yu once again thought of the existence outside the Great Wall. If it is true as Qingxiu said, the situation inside is already like this. The destruction of the Great Wall was completely expected. 1,000 miles away, collapsed in an ant nest. Lu Yu took a deep breath. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS level talents at the beginning. Author, Yun Zhonmu Shui. Chapter 556. Seeing this, Qingxiu shook her head. You don't need to think too much about this, they didn't do anything wrong. Didn't you do anything wrong? Yes, Qingxiu nodded. Lu Yu was silent for a moment after hearing this. Lord Qingxiu, are you sure you didn't tell a joke? No, I'm very rational. There are some things that only you can know if you reach a certain level. As he said that, Qingxiu's expression became a little lonely. It's all in vain, a feeble struggle. Seeing Qian Shui like this, Lu Yu frowned. Is it because of the existence outside the Great Wall? Probably so. Qingxiu's tone was uncertain. When Lu Yu heard this, he felt his head hurt. Lord Qingxiu, can you tell me what the reason is? Lu Yu really couldn't figure it out. What kind of existence makes the entire universe so pessimistic? Even the idea of actively destroying the universe has come out, which is so shocking. Facing Lu Yu's inquiry, Qingxiu shook her head regretfully. Sorry, it's better not to tell you this kind of thing, lest you, the new generation, also fall into despair. Perhaps, you are the opportunity for the future. Anyway, keep going, Qingxiu said. Although it was encouragement, Lu Yu didn't hear any enthusiasm. Mentioning these things, Qingxiu seemed to become sad. After a long silence, Lu Yu finally nodded. Okay, Master Qingxiu, I understand, let's go first. I won't give it away, but work hard anyway. The future will be far crueler than you think. Qingxiu smiled. Seeing this, Lu Yu also smiled. Don't worry, no matter how bad it is, someone will always stand up. With that said, Lu Yu turned and left. Qingxiu looked at Lu Yu's back and muttered to herself in a daze. Really, will it be better? Everything is unstoppable, I can only obey. Chapter 0421 I am an airman, the situation of the mission. After leaving here, Lu Yu returned to the hotel. Yu Yu leaned outside the door and looked at Lu Yu. How about it, I didn't lie to you. Lu Yu nodded and said nothing. Yu Yu patted him on the shoulder with an enthusiastic look on his face. How about it, can you join us now? Let's fight for the great goal together. I'm not that nervous yet. Lu Yu refused. Even if he knew the truth, in his opinion, this was still a neurological behavior. It was just full of food and holding on, thinking about how to destroy the universe. No matter how bad the future is and what he has to face, Lu Yu still cannot understand this kind of thinking. Yu Yu sighed quietly. Okay, excuse me. With that said, he entered the room. Ahashi Reiku looked at the two of them with a puzzled expression. What are you two doing behind my back? You. Come on, Ahashi Reiku suddenly became energetic. Lu Yu smiled when he saw this. Stop talking, shush. Ahashi Reiku. Do you particularly hate the sound of my voice? Ahashi asked. In response, Lu Yu shook his head. No. What's that for? Because you can talk. Ahashi Reiku. I'm going to explode. It's going to explode. Forget it, let's talk about this afternoon. What are you going to do? Daikiao Leiju looked at Lu Yu. It's very dangerous outside the city. What else can I do but go up? Lu Yu spread his hands. Daikiao Leiju shook his head after hearing this. I knew you were unreliable. I've learned all the information. Saying that, Ahashi Reiku took out a large handful of paper. I used a lot of resources to get these things from the warriors in the outer city. You have no breasts and no brains. Lu Yu gave a rare compliment. This girl finally thinks about something. Daikiao Leiju snorted after hearing this. You have a big chest and no brains. As she spoke, she took out one of the dozen pieces of paper. This should be where we go when the time comes. A faint light flashed in Ahashi Reiku's eyes. Seeing this, Lu Yu smiled. Then tell me where we are going. Okay, you must obey my orders then. You have the final say. Lu Yu laughed. He wanted to see what this girl could do. Seeing this, Daikiao Leiju didn't waste any time and directly pulled Lu Yu out. Everyone in our team is waiting outside. Let's go now. 10 minutes later, Daikiao Leiju and Lu Yu stopped in front of a tea house. On the second floor of the tea house, Lu Yu saw his team, the other 8 people in this galaxy group. As soon as they saw Lu Yu, they all came up to him. Apparently they had inquired a lot of information and were now a little worried. Lu Yu, it's up to you this time. Yes, that place is really dangerous. Hold your thighs in advance. Everyone was talking about it, and Lu Yu waved his hand. Don't worry, everyone, we are all in the same team and we will take care of them no matter what. Lu Yu wanted to collect some protection money, but he thought about it. Now on the surface, at least he can be considered a figure. If you charge a protection fee, it's a bit low end. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu. Chapter 557. Have to find another way. Beside Lu Yu, Daikiao Leiju stood out with his chest raised. Since everyone is here, just listen to what I have to say. I will give a comprehensive analysis here. Lu Yu is too strong. God Lu will always be God. Niu. Beside them, the others continued to lick Lu Yu as if they had not heard Ahashi Reiku's words at all. Especially the looks in the eyes of a few girls, as if they wanted to swallow Lu Yu directly. Ahashi Reiku. She looked at Lu Yu with resentful eyes. Seeing this, Lu Yu was helpless. I can't help it. I am born with the temperament of a leader. Then it's up to you to analyze it yourself. Daikiao Leiju was fuming, and Lu Yu pressed his hands when he saw this. Okay, everyone, please be quiet for a moment. Now, Ahashi Reiku-san will analyze the situation for us. Wow, Lu Shen is great. It's amazing, Lu Shen actually wants to analyze the situation. Reiku Ahashi? Am I such an airhead? Seeing that the surrounding area was finally quiet, Ahashi Reiku took a deep breath and said. The current situation is very dangerous. It's okay. With Lu Shen, it won't be dangerous. Yes, it will be fine as long as Lu Shen is there. We can just mix and match. Another large number of voices sounded. Reiku Ahashi? Can you just listen to what I have to say first? Seeing that Ahashi Leiju was really about to run away, Lu Yu quickly stood up and pressed his palms. Okay, okay, I know everyone trusts me, Mr. Lu, so let's study the situation first. At this point, everyone was completely quiet. Ahashi Reiju glared before saying, "The situation is clear now. We all have to go outside the Great Wall." "Yes." Lu Yu nodded, and there was a chorus of agreement below. This finally made Ahashi Reiku's mentality a lot more balanced. She continued to speak. "Going to the Great Wall. From the information I learned, it is very dangerous. Outside the Great Wall, there are many monsters we have never seen before. The abilities of those monsters are terrifying. As long as they are in certain areas, they can be reborn indefinitely and are almost impossible to truly kill." Ahashi Reiku felt incredible when he said this. A creature too weird to be killed. How to fight this? But in fact, this was indeed dictated by the warriors from the outer city. Those monsters are almost impossible to kill. Unless the strength is much higher than the monster's strength, there is no way. The others also shrank when they heard this. "If that's what you say, I'm afraid it's going to be really troublesome." Only Lu Yu remained calm. Ahashi glanced at Lu Yu for a long time and continued. "In addition to being unable to be killed, those monsters also have a weird point, that is, they cannot be discovered. Unless they take the initiative, we cannot kill them. And in the area where the monster is, it seems that all channels for obtaining information will be cut off, including light, sound, and vision." As soon as Ahashi Reiku said this, everyone else nodded. "Indeed. That's what I heard from the information. It's really too dangerous," many people said. However, Lu Yu raised his brows momentarily. "Why, is this attribute so familiar? Leku, don't you feel a little familiar?" Lu Yu's words made Dakiao Leiju stunned. "Familiar? Have you ever been in contact with Lu Yu?" As soon as the words fell, everyone's eyes turned to Lu Yu at the same time. Seeing this, Lu Yu smiled slightly. "Isn't this the case with Yun in the competition in this galaxy group?" Chapter 0422 A Good Guy Card, the Angry Bridge comes for a long time. "Yun, isn't this the case?" As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned. Without him, what Lu Yu said seems to be true. Everyone had escaped from the Galaxy Group competition, and everyone knew what happened to Yun back then. Looking back at this moment, everyone was surprised. That seems to be the case. Isn't it too similar? What's going on? Everyone was shocked. Ahashi Reiju even thought of something and looked at Lu Yu with a look of joy. "Lu Yu, if you can kill Yun, you should be able to suppress these monsters, right?" "It's possible," Lu Yu said casually. "If the monsters outside the Great Wall are really similar to the things I encountered in the ancient land before, as well as Yun." Lu Yu could only say that this Great Wall mission was another mediocre killing. "Hey, I really want to be serious for once." Lu Yu's words undoubtedly cheered everyone up. "I'll go. Lu Shen Wudi. Just hug your thighs and that's it. I love Lu Shen so much." Everyone was excited, and several girls in the team even kissed Lu Yu on the face. Lu Yu expressed that he enjoyed this very much. Ahashi's smile froze on his face. "I'm talking here until my throat is filled with smoke. Where are you and my little sister playing with each other? I'm going to be so angry." Seeing Dakiao Leiju's murderous gaze, Lu Yu spread his hands. "I didn't take the initiative." "Well, Lu Shen didn't take the initiative." A girl's face instantly turned red. Dakiao Leiju clenched his fists and started talking again. "With Lu Yu here, our safety should not be a big problem this time, so the main focus should be on grabbing the quota." The monsters outside the Great Wall almost all appeared from the space cracks and scattered in the area outside the Great Wall. And our mission this time should not be to clear the monsters in the outer area, that would be too easy. Our mission should be to have 10,000 geniuses enter a space crack. The monsters there will have markers on them. As long as we get enough markers, we can achieve a satisfactory result. Dakiaoleju slowly spoke out his analysis. This point is still uncertain. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu. Chapter 558. Because no one knows what the big shot behind the scenes is thinking. All we can say is that this is the most likely possibility. Everyone began to think deeply when they heard this. Only Lu Yu's eyes were thinking. Entering a space rift? So behind the space crack, will it be the same ancient city as before? He couldn't be sure of this either. The only certainty is that if the monster is really a weird creature like Yun, then he will really kill people randomly after entering. The bloodline of the gods could defeat that thing until it dies. Lu Yu thought in his heart. Dakiaoleju looked at Lu Yu. Lu Yu, do you have any ideas? No idea. As he said this, Lu Yu raised his finger at a girl, who immediately blushed. Ahashi Reiku. I can bear it. Tolerate. Do you have any ideas? She looked at everyone. But no one paid attention to her. Everyone was talking to Lu Yu. Lu Shen, this time it's up to you. Lu Shen must be fine. Lu Shen is invincible. Ahashi Leiju felt aggrieved when he saw this scene. At this moment, Lu Yu's words made her happy. You don't need to thank me, you should thank Ahashi Reiku-san, she analyzed the situation for us. Seeing everyone looking at him, Ahashi Reiku quickly smiled. You're welcome, we're all in the same team. I see, then I'm sorry. Everyone turned their heads and started licking Lu Yu again. Reiku Ahashi? I'm being polite to you, are you really being polite? How unreasonable. Lu Yu reluctantly waved his hand amid Dakiao's long-lasting depression. See you all in the main hall this afternoon. Okay, Lu Shen. Goodbye Lu Shen. Bye-bye. Everyone waved goodbye to Lu Yu. Ahashi bowed his head and said nothing for a long time. Seeing this, Lu Yu patted her shoulder and comforted her. Don't worry, everyone will remember your contribution, but they are not good at expressing it. Before Lu Yu could finish speaking, a girl caught up with him. Lu Shen, these are the flowers I gave you. The girl handed the flower to Lu Yu, blushed, and ran away. Ahashi Reiku. Is this what you call poor expression? She had a sneer on her face. Seeing this, Lu Yu shook his head. You can't say that. Some feelings are hard to express. In short, you are a good person. Lu Yu nodded towards Dakiaoleju. After receiving a good guy card, Ahashi Reiku was angry, but he didn't say anything. Anyway, go in when the time comes. If that's really the case, it's up to you. Sure, I'll keep your body intact. The whole corpse is as big as you. Ahashi Reiku huffed. The two returned to the hotel. Dakiaoleju bought dry food from the owner downstairs for emergencies, while Lu Yu came up alone. Opposite their room, Yu Yu's door was open, and there was the sound of water running from the toilet. Wash, 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 I'll wash dash. Humming a little tune, Yu Yu opened the toilet door and came out to get his underwear. When he saw Lu Yu standing at the door, he was stunned for 2 seconds. After looking at Lu Yu, then at the opened door, and finally staring down at himself, Yu Yu smiled. Lu Yu, I never expected that, just to see me. Bang. The door closed instantly. Yours is too small and I'm not interested. Also, remember to close the door yourself next time. Lu Yu pouted. Ahashi Reiku walked over from the side at this time, with a confused look on his face. Lu Yu, what are you looking at? See if you can do it. Do you really want to see it? Ahashi Reiku narrowed his eyes. Lu Yu's eyes also narrowed. I want to see your sister Ahashi Miku. Get lost. You will never get my sister in your life. It's okay, some people are so familiar even if they have never met before. Lu Yu sighed. Ahashi Reiko frowned. How do you act like you know my sister very well? She must be familiar. I know that your sister has been a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, a housewife, a student. Anyway, I have seen everything she should be like. Lu Yu's words made Ahashi Reiju frown even more. You're talking nonsense. My sister is not okay at all. You haven't entered the sea yet. Lu Yu was shocked and immediately held Dakiao Leiju's hand. Please introduce your sister to me immediately. Get out of here. My sister doesn't have it, but I can have it. Then forget it. Lu Yu's mood waned. Seeing this, Daqiao was trembling with anger. At this time, Yu Yu opened the door. Doing business? Sorry to bother you. With that said, Yu Yu wiped the water drops from his hair and turned to leave. But Lu Yu stopped him. Is something wrong? Of course there's something going on. Chapter 0423 Above the Great Wall, the Golden Lion Clan. Of course something happened. Yu Yu smiled. Are you interested in working together on this mission? Cooperate. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 559. When Lu Yu heard this, he decisively refused. Then please come back. Snap. The door is closed. Yu Yu sighed. If you don't cooperate, you won't cooperate. Is it necessary to close down so soon? Time passed by, and 2 hours passed quickly. Dakiao Leiju took a nap without any psychological burden, pulled Lu Yu and walked outside. Lu Yu, my safety this time depends entirely on you. Do you sound more normal? My safety this time depends entirely on you. Easy to say. Lu Yu nodded. It's still the same tone as the latter, to make myself feel a little more comfortable. Otherwise, I would get goosebumps all over my body. Taking Dakiao Leiju with them, the two came to the main hall. In the main hall, there were people waiting for a long time. Lu Yu and Daqiao arrived relatively late. Went to where the team was at the beginning, and sure enough, others were already waiting. Lu Shen. The 8 people quickly surrounded Lu Yu, and Dakiao Leiju was squeezed outside without any surprise. Looking at the popular Lu Yu, Dakiao Leiju fell into deep thought. Apart from strength, how can I not compare to this guy? Is strength so important? The crowd gathered around Lu Yu, showing various expressions. Lu Yu smiled at this and focused his attention elsewhere. The people in the hall are all geniuses from the Super Galaxy Cluster, 500 people, a total of 50 teams. At this moment, other teams have almost gathered together, and they all occupy an area, either discussing or sizing up other teams. Next to Lu Yu was Yu Yu's team. Lu Yu, I really feel that I can cooperate. Don't worry, I will never hold you back. Yu Yu looked sincere. In response, Lu Yu shook his head decisively. When it comes to this kind of task, I don't want to cooperate. Don't end up protecting their team yourself, that would be ridiculous. Seeing this, Yu Yu sighed. Well, I missed it after all. Yu Yu left with a sad face. Dakiao Leiju's expression was somewhat strange when he saw this. Don't you two just wear a pair of underwear? Why don't you cooperate? You don't have to worry about this, Lu Yu said calmly. Seeing this, Dakiao Leiju said nothing more. Qingxiu appeared quickly. After briefly glancing at Lu Yu in the crowd, she quickly spoke out. Are all the teams here? Arrived. 50. Seeing this, Qingxiu nodded. I would like to remind you again that this mission is quite dangerous. In addition to the monsters outside the Great Wall, your opponents also have other teams. Of course, I suggest that the geniuses of the super galaxy cluster should not be consumed internally. Others, I have nothing to say. Now there is still a chance to withdraw. Does anyone want to withdraw voluntarily? The hall was quiet, no one said a word. We have come this far, and if we quit, we will really regret it. In this case, it is better to give it a try. With at least 10,000 geniuses on the scene, no matter how high the mortality rate is, it cannot really be much higher. Otherwise, this would not be sending yourself and others to do the task, but sending you to death. Seeing that no one said anything, Qingxiu's expression became more and more satisfied. Very good, since there is no objection, let's set off. As soon as the words fell, everyone was enveloped in light. When he reappeared, it was already dark and empty. The next moment, the light flickered, and everyone saw the scene in front of them clearly. Looking around, everyone seemed to appear in the center of the world. Underfoot are black bricks and stones. Looking around in the blink of an eye, high walls towered all around. Unlike the edgeless side of the city wall seen outside, the end of the city wall here can be seen. Its structure is obviously that of a city. Looking to both sides, I saw a road spreading to nowhere. Are we, already on the city wall? One genius exclaimed, and others reacted one after another, and they were all shocked. Compared to looking at it from the outside, only when you actually climb the city wall do you realize how majestic it is. Hundreds of geniuses landed on this city wall, looking like hundreds of ants. Not even ants. Oh my God. What kind of creature is such a high city wall designed for? This is too big. I almost thought this was outside the Great Wall. I don't know how many geniuses exclaimed, but Lu Yu stood in the crowd and was equally amazed. It is indeed magnificent. However, what made Lu Yu feel very uncomfortable was, here, there is still a lack of that sense of solemnity. It seems that it lacks a sense of sedimentation of time. This puzzled Lu Yu, but he was not sure whether this was the city wall he had seen in the illusion. While Lu Yu was thinking, Qingxiu in front of him had spoken again. You have now reached the city wall, so now, I will take you to gather. These words confused many people. Gather? What's the meaning? Qingxiu had no intention of explaining this. The brilliance once again covered everyone, and in a flash of light, everyone disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, he seemed to be still on the wall of the Great Wall. It just shocked everyone. Beside them, countless geniuses have appeared without knowing when. It was so dense that you couldn't even see the end for a while. Obviously, these were the geniuses from other superclusters. These geniuses also looked confused. So far, no one knows what the real mission is. Lu Yu, there are many geniuses in other superclusters who look very powerful. Ahashi Leiju looked around and frowned slightly. A total of 20 geniuses from superclusters gathered here. Just by casually feeling it, you can find many restrained but powerful existences. Lu Yu naturally noticed this. There are still many crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Lu Yu sighed. At this time, Yu Yu suddenly came over. What? Crouching dragon and phoenix. Lu Yu. Why are you everywhere? Global High Martial Arts, copy SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Yunzhong Mu Shui. Chapter 560. I am Light Incarnate. Roll. Lu Yu was kicked away by Yu Yu. The incarnation of light can only be me. Yu Yu patted his clothes and got up. Feng Chu, are you really uncooperative? Those few over there are all ruthless among the ruthless, and they are now at the 4th level of Tianyuan. Yu Yu pointed carefully at several teams in the distance. Lu Yu looked over. The aura of several teams is quite extraordinary, and one of the young men has blonde hair, bright hair, covered with light, like a god. This made Lu Yu raise his eyebrows slightly. Interesting, why does it look like when I turned it up? What's going on with that blonde guy over there? What are you talking about? Xi Genzi, from the Lion Super Galaxy Cluster, should be the genius of the Golden Lion clan. This family is famously powerful. It is the first group of the Super Galaxy Cluster. It is said that it is somewhat related to the God clan. Yu Yu started talking. When Lu Yu heard this, his eyes became surprised. Has something to do with the gods? Good guy. System, verify it for me. Chapter 0424 The Golden Retriever Lion King, the Chief Envoy. Lu Yu spoke without any hesitation. To be honest, as long as there are geniuses who are currently related to the gods, I don't need to live, okay. Ding. Testing in progress, test successful. What's the result? The Golden Lion clan has 100% blood purity. The system answered quickly, which made Lu Yu slightly confused. What race is the Golden Lion? Returning to the host, the Golden Lion is a kind of war beast raised by the gods in the past. When it is mature, it can crush the sun and moon with its palms and roar down the stars. The system's words made Lu Yu fall into deep thought. What's the difference between this thing and the slave clan? War beasts are just for fighting? Okay. It seems that the first step to regaining the God clan is to surrender this guy. Later I will leave him to Urgu for training and training. As if aware of Lu Yu's gaze, the blond young man turned back to look at Lu Yu, his golden eyes full of indifference. Hello, Golden Retriever Lion King. Lu Yu greeted warmly. When the young man heard this, he was stunned for a moment. He called me Golden Retriever? The blond young man's eyes instantly stared at Lu Yu. This scene attracted the attention of many geniuses present. It seems like someone provoked the lion flame. The Golden Retriever Lion King, this guy really dares to shout. Lion Yan hates others linking his name to a kind of dog. Hush, be careful. In this area, many geniuses are talking about it. Lu Yu frowned when he saw the murderous look in the blond young man's eyes. It's really a bit shameless, Lu Yu said. As a war pet raised by the gods, how dare you glare at yourself like this? I'm afraid I'm tired of living. Lu Yu felt that his dignity had been challenged. The blond young man stared at Lu Yu with cold eyes. Which super galaxy cluster are you from? You're from this super galaxy cluster, what, you want to make a date? Lu Yu looked at him with a smile on his face. When the blond young man heard this, murderous intent emerged in his eyes. I'll give you a chance, now, to apologize to me. These words, without any concealment, were heard by thousands of geniuses in an instant. Many geniuses looked at the two of them, their eyes filled with excitement. Someone actually provoked the lion flame. How brave. Shi Yan gave him a chance to apologize. He probably already knows his mistake. Ha ha ha, I feel like he's going to be miserable. Many geniuses watched the excitement. Being watched by so many people, Lu Yu's expression was very calm, without any fluctuation at all. On the contrary, the bridge next to it was in a hurry. Lu Yu, what should we do now? Nothing to do. Lu Yu patted her shoulder and looked at the blond young man. What will happen if I don't apologize? Believe me, you will die miserably. The blond young man moved and came towards Lu Yu. The pressure on him was terrifying to the extreme. It was the 5th level of Tianyuan. This is definitely the ceiling among the thousands of geniuses on the field. In comparison, Lu Yu's Tianyuan level 1 was simply negligible. Yu Yu stood next to Lu Yu with a helpless expression. Lu Yu, we are in trouble now. What, you still want to help me? Hey, we are sleeping dragons and phoenixes, and we won't be happy if one of us is missing. Yu Yu sighed, then looked at the blond young man. That one over there is that golden retriever. Is your head so yellow because you accidentally got something on it when you went to the toilet to eat? It's golden. Yu shouted. In an instant, most people in the audience looked at Yu. Even the blond young man was stunned and looked at him in disbelief. Soon, his eyes became extremely angry. Are you looking for death? No, I'm not looking for shit, you are. Wow. As soon as these words came out, everyone was surprised again, and some people laughed softly. There is no other reason than, Yu's words are so easy to create a picture. Hearing the faint laughter from all around, the blond young man's face turned extremely ugly. Okay. Very good. Which super galaxy cluster are you from? Don't ask, just ask that I am your grandfather, Yu said loudly again. This made the blond young man's eyes almost spit fire. At this time, a genius who wanted to please the blond young man came up. Lord Xian, he is also a group of the super galaxy. Is that so? The blond young man narrowed his eyes. Very good, both of you will die. The blond young man said coldly, and the next moment, he turned and left. Instead of talking nonsense here, it is better to go in and kill the two directly. Next to Yu was very proud. How is it, did I attract enough hatred this time?